welcome along. So we are back post-lunch and we're continuing this review of PR we received from... I'm surprised I don't have... github.com// where is this going to be? CocoaPods. Oh, we've got it. It's just over here. Yeah. So, her name again. The PR we received from Johan on an implementation of the CocoaPods downloader subpackage, which lives in its Ruby shape over here in this folder. So we're initially looking at this class called base.ruby, specifically this base class, and just going from top to bottom, we tackled a few things, and I think we are getting closer. I'm in half a mind to make it non-generic, but I've had a quick look at the subclasses, and indeed there's some... The subclasses do take a different shape of record string to string. Whether we could just simplify everything by throwing away some of the type safety and saying, you know what, options is always record string to string and that's all we know. I think we'll leave it as generic for now and weigh up the value later on as we kind of see how it's used. But for now, nothing wrong with that. Let's see. So we're going to grab the class.name, this.constructor. Actually, you know what? Let's commit what we've already got, because I think I'm satisfied with that change. So make options a read-only with validation. That's most of what's going on there. That will be throwing away in a moment. Okay, and might as well push that one here. I'm lost. Okay, so we got on to the next thing. Next up, we've got this name. So I've checked out the PR branch here. And I think I'll just do the necessary fixes in situ, and if there's any like design discussions we need to have, I'll leave that as a pending comment. So name. The fact that it pulls out the current class's name and then cuts off pod downloader and gets just a final segment of base makes me think that this probably is more like this pattern, which would work on all subclasses. So we grab that. Do we even need this? Does constructors? Yeah, so we just return that. So this means that if you subclass base and you make something called base subclass, it will return that name base subclass rather than the name of this class right here, which is base. So we wouldn't have to redeclare this module, this method in each subclass. It'll just get it right each time. Now, I'm a little This is something that kind of bugs me about a lot of these the Ruby methods in use in this code base, which is they don't actually rely a lot of the time on this context of the class. So they needn't be instance methods, they could very well be class methods. And it's all over the place, it's all a bit makes you doubt yourself as to whether you're understanding it correctly. But yeah, I think there's a lot of cleanup we could do on a second pass. So let's just pull this a class. The name of the downloader. Example. Download. Oh boy. It's okay. How would you translate this to what's it going to be? CocoaPods slash repo slash CocoaPods downloader slash mercurial.js. Grab that mercurial. New mercurial.name turns mercurial. Maybe an extra line break in there. I mean, repo CocoaPods download. Oh, sorry, it's downloader. Slash mercurial.js. Maybe it'll be like in the dist folder or something. Anyway, that is a pending example because all this stuff doesn't even exist yet. So I'm just sort of imagining how it might get used in practice. Next up, we've got download. So these things have snuck in here. I wonder if they're in subclasses, if they need. I guess they're not doing any harm being in this position. And just distracting me as I'm moving, looking at these side by side. So perform download and perform download head. If they do nothing, then they should probably be abstract, really. Promise void, something like that. What's wrong with that? Eh? Okay, yeah, no, that's fair enough, isn't it? Because it's an implementation of the detail. And this is presumably used in a subclass. Yeah, form download is implemented in a couple other places. So, yeah, it does kind of suggest that it is an abstract method on the downloader base. Yeah. I think that makes sense. I'm just a bit surprised. That's a Ruby thing, I guess. Ruby maybe doesn't have a way to say, here's an abstract method. I don't have an implementation for you right now. Whereas TypeScript does. It's able to express purely type level things if it wants to. Okay, sweet. We've also got this download method. What's that going to return? Promise void. Okay, and we're going to validate the input. So this presumably throws an error if it has to. Let's look into how that works. Okay. Grab those dot comments over. Hang on, which way around is this? It aligns to the left, okay. Returns void, yes it does. Okay. And let's just make that explicitly empty. Nope. Nope for this base class. Okay. Welcome along. I just noticed you've got 2 viewers from the chat. How are you doing? What are you up to today? What's everyone working on? Let's see. So we've got valid input, we've got user agent string. How is that implemented? Pods version, we've got CocoaPods, and then the project version. Where does that come from? That's so cool. Yeah, that's a thing that we statically import from the base level package.json from a sister project, from a sister package. I was very proud of figuring out how to write that for a monorepo. Okay. Oh, Dylan, the not TSC member, as we established in the previous stream. Good to see you along. Let's see, so should this have a slash? It kind of feels like it should have a slash. The project version is literally that string 010. That feels like it should have a slash there. Why don't we do that? CocoaPods slash, there's your version. Ah, they put a space there. Cheeky little space. And that's only if the version is defined, but... Oh, Oscar with a coffee, yeah, great. I have a budget of like 1 to 2 coffees a day. I did my first coffee during the morning stream, and I'm now enjoying a jasmine green tea. Really nice. Even if you're not drinking it, it just adds so much scent into the room. How much more work do you think you still have to go? There is loads. It's an absolute mountain still. So I'm kind of learning as I go along just how big this thing is. So just looking in CocoaPods downloader alone, there's 8. We've got 10 files right here. Each one's probably got 400 lines of Ruby at least. And a lot of it is doing some stuff that you need to use your brain for, like HTTP and downloading. And CocoaPods downloader is just one of the packages, one of the repos here. There's how many exactly? I don't even know. Hold on. Loads and loads. Now I don't know how many of these are actually relevant to the core functionality. There's things like the specs repo is that's just sort of like package.jsons, their equivalent to package.jsons, so there's no actual code in there. CDN, that's hosting, core plugins and stuff. Guides, that's a website. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of work, yes, but as I say, a lot of these things are not projects supporting Ruby to JavaScript. They are infrastructure. And at this stage, I don't know yet which of these are relevant. Look, I see a lot of these are just websites. So what we've been focusing on in this stream for just a moment has been the downloader package, but most of the business goes on in Xcode Proj, which parses the plist. Is plist the right word? Well, anyway, it parses the Xcode Proj format. That's a big mammoth, but fortunately there have been efforts to TypeScriptify the Xcode Proj gem in the past already, and in fact Evan Bacon has got one that looks really good. It's not 100% complete, but it is usefully feature packed, and there are, there's also other existing solutions, like the native script stack has its own one of those. It's pretty ancient, but it does, it's enough for everything native script needs. But yeah, it's mostly core we'll be looking inside. Core and CocoaPods. So actually, looking inside lib. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. There's a bunch of stuff. And then it keeps on going. And then you also look over at core, which a lot of that stuff extends. So it's a lot. There's enough to keep me busy with stuff to stream for months. But fortunately, we've got folks like Johan who have been opening PRs to and this would be the real inflection point if we could actually get a whole bunch of people just chipping in here and there with individual files, individual subdirectories, and then I can review them. It's a lot of donkey work, and that the review is not so hard to do. But yeah, it's just a lot of typing. So yeah, more help the better. Hopefully we solve it with just an ever-growing community. So I see you said, has anyone with $$ reached out yet to support the effort? I'm sure Meta would be interested in dumping Ruby out of the required stack. I have... yes, I've had communications from various parties, from both freelancers and consultancies, and also some interest from big tech. So I think in a few weeks we may be able. Yeah, I'm going to have a discussion to understand where we are on that and what to expect. I don't think any sort of monetary funding is in scope, but there is interest in principle in this project that makes me believe that if I work on this, I won't be working just on my own, and also that it has a chance of getting that there will be some advocacy for its adoption into React Native. So yeah, the only reason I felt driven enough to do this was upon hearing that hope that actually maybe other people do want this, and this might actually one day get adopted. Because I would think, the worst thing would be to build all this and then find no one wants to use it. But the other thing that gave me hope was I've never had quite so much engagement on an open source project when I mentioned it on Twitter. It's mostly if I think up something that really resonates with people, I'll get a few sympathy likes, I have my day in the limelight. But this really seemed to strike a proper chord, and people were reaching out saying, how do I get involved? It's very, very new. So I thought, even if it's not a guaranteed this thing will go to completion, I thought, kind of like maybe like Ladybird, this could be a project people have a passion for, they get behind, and I might get my first chance to sort of lead a decent scale community project. So let's see what Oscar's saying. Money equals time. If you could treat it as another client project and work 8 hours a day, it completely speeds up things. Absolutely, yeah. I of course have a full-time job, and it's only because I work a 4-day week that I have sort of spare time and energy to, do open source for a bit of fun. So, yeah, I was like a few weeks back thinking I want to build something, but I just don't know what. And yeah, this received the interest, and it seemed a lot less stressful than all of the super deep reverse engineering things I've been doing on sort of TypeScript integration into React Native. Like I really want it to happen, but it is really taxing. Compared to this Ruby to JavaScript stuff, you feel like you're making a nice bit of progress each time, and yeah, It's fun and therapeutic, and people. The cool thing about it is people can jump in at any time in any stream and go, okay, I can see what the aim is here. Because the only context they need is to look at a few lines of code in front of them and think, how do we express that in Ruby? Maybe I can help out with that. How do I express that Ruby into TypeScript? Yeah, some thumbs up there. Okay, where were we? Just be careful not to burn out. Absolutely, yes. This, the original reason I was... So a while back, I've always had a bit of a habit of dreaming up real epic projects, like building a web browser or whatever, or building a layout engine or something. And as time goes by, and having had my fair share of burnout, I've realized I've increasingly tried to take on weekend-sized projects. And my philosophy with this one, the only reason I considered taking on this project is, yeah, we know it's not going to get done in a day, but there will be lots of people helping out, I think. Indeed, we've got a PR we're reviewing right now. We've got another PR open, and there's engagement. So it's lots of mini contents. The payload isn't all in one go. It's not all or nothing. It's you do get a bit of reward on the way. You get to know people. Got Saad Najmi just coming in now. Has the CocoaPods team expressed any instead? Tuning in now. So I've not had any direct. I've had communication from the Fastlane team. I don't know what the overlap between Fastlane and CocoaPods teams are. The CocoaPods team have not reached out. And I don't blame them. This is sort of... It may feel a bit like what's a word? Like an existential threat, but also a bit insulting that someone wants to rewrite your project for little reason other than don't like Ruby. There is more reason than don't like Ruby. It's the friction of integrating it into React Native project. Express any interest? Well, no contact at all from the CocoaPods team. But there was a tweet from Tourist, who they are a Swift-based dependency manager package, and I think build settings manager package. So they are kind of a rival to Swift Project Manager, Swift Package Manager. And they said if you need any help, get in touch. Oh geez, yeah, I sent a message back to them, and due to Twitter notifications not triggering, I recall they responded, and I had my hands full and didn't get a chance to read the information. Tourist is cool. Yeah, I could believe it. They seem to know what they're doing, and they seem to profile things. And I have no doubt that a company, if it is a company, an organization who focuses just on the one concept of, well, we want to do this thing better than it is right now, will make a lot more headway than something like Swift Package Manager, where it's intertwined with Apple interests, and sort of you get the frictions of how much project time can be dedicated to this before Apple want you to go and work on this other thing. Whereas with Tourist, if you've got a single thing to focus on, I have no doubt it is probably really good. Oscar asking where do I work? So I work in Tokyo for a Tokyo-based company. So I am not a freelancer, but there was a period I was in between jobs, and or rather, there was scope to extend my original contract if I could take on some subcontracting work. So I was reaching out for freelancing opportunities back then. But yeah, nowadays full-time job with Wednesdays and weekends off. So yeah, hence why yeah, in between chores, I've lately been running some streams on Wednesdays. How is life in Japan? How is life in Japan as well? Any plans to go back to Europe sometime? Still unsure when I may visit Europe, whether it's the UK or whether it's one of these React conferences or something. And am I out of focus? The autofocus not quite working. Maybe I need to sit a bit more like that. Japan's just great. Japan is really addresses a lot of problems that I had with life in the UK in terms of access to healthcare, transport to actually get you to social things and things, even tourism things, because I don't drive either. Rent is a lot cheaper in Japan, in Tokyo, than it is in the south of the UK. And yeah, and I want. Outwardly, it seemed that food would be cheaper, but actually, I'm not so sure anymore. I think ingredients, if you want to do home cooking, they really are expensive compared to England. But I left before the cost of living crisis came around. I think I don't really like flying. I really don't like sitting still for long periods. I mean, comfortably at home with a computer in front of me I can do, but in a plane for 12 plus hours is actually a little rough for me, as I'm sure it is for many. So not quite sure yet the next time I want to get onto a long distance plane, but it's starting to feel sort of about time I'd better go back and visit family and that sort of thing. As for Sard, absolutely. Visiting Tokyo, I can highly recommend it. You can, it's very easy to fill weekends and weekdays over here. Where were we? User agent string. It's right here. And it is the static method, okay. We have that space after the version. Okay. I know, Oscar, you were so you're in Berlin now, and I think you were in other places before. I wonder how Berlin's treating you, and yeah, how it compares to other places you've been. User agent string. So we've got the space in there, and if you can't find a version, you just do empty string, but it's statically declared, so we're good to go on that front. At which point, maybe we just express it like that. That's weird, isn't it? Okay, well the spaces in there kind of do make it feel a bit like a user agent string. That's fair enough. Space CocoaPods downloader And then the version of downloader itself. Now that's... Yes, that's in... I was kind of expecting it to be like a static on the class, but yeah, the way the Ruby package has arranged things, it is just in a file called gem version, and that's standard throughout their repos, so I don't hate it. Yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with doing it like that, so let's keep it like that for consistency. In the second pass, we may choose to sort of move it into a static onto this base class. Oh no, but it's not part of the base class at all. It's part of it's associated with a package. I mean, alternatively, we could grab the project version out of a package, which is probably what we should do, actually. Depends whether we're trying to match the okay, so Oscar's in Munich, not Berlin. Almost 8 years now. Fine, clean, safe, pretty. A bit too expensive for its size. Not staying for long, I think. I want to go back to my home country for a bit. Spend time with friends and family, and then who knows, maybe Barcelona. Weather and culture is easy to adapt to. Cool, yeah. Sounds good. Barcelona would sound nice as well. Check out the Guggenheim, I think it was. Hope I haven't got that wrong. Defines two methods for an executable based on name. Bang version raises if the executable terminates with a non-zero exit code. So we got this thing executable. Oh, where is that? It's just under user agent extreme. We should have a static function called executable, which takes a name. So just, am I missing this? Oh yeah, it's this weird thing where you dynamically define a method on yourself. Yes, this appeared in another file, so I can kind of ignore that because... Oh, and we're done here? We are done here. There's pre-process options, which just returns the surely no, I don't. That just returns the options you passed in. Usage is optional. Okay, right, fine. No, that is. Did we? I mean, we could validate them. I think we had we got a validate input function, but then that doesn't take any arguments. So yeah, okay, leave it as is. Execute command sync. What is all this about? Who uses this? Git uses it. Ah, okay, right. closed for right. Now we do have an executable class with these define method things. I don't think I didn't end up using this. That's how you would describe define method right here, but it makes the it doesn't play nice with TypeScript at all. I think because you can't do a declare static, no static declare, ABC. Yeah, the only reason we can't express define method in TypeScript, despite it being used in Ruby, is because TypeScript doesn't allow all sorts of things in statics. You can't have declare static, you can't have abstract static. I think you can't have abstract static. We established that earlier. Okay. So, with that said, we don't use that, but we do use execute command. So let's make this a bit bigger, make that a bit smaller. How are we going to express? Let's stop it wrapping. How are we going to express execute command over here in CocoaPods downloader? Surely. So we're taking in exec A. So exec A does escaping. I'm not sure whether we need escaping of our terminal commands, because the hope here is that we're never taking arbitrary user input from it. It's purely a shortcut. But that's my naive hope. I haven't yet seen enough of the code base to understand whether it could get arbitrary inputs. And even then, I'm a little unsure whether a package like exec-a could handle all the cases of shell escaping. What is this thing then? No risk of shell injection sounds really, really good. That's pretty cool. Let's look at the security, the security section. Okay. What's it called when you got a remote code execution? Has this ever happened? Okay. None of those have ever happened. I'm just a little hesitant because it would be nice to use just what's built in to Node, pulling in as few packages as possible, unless we have a really good reason. There's a clearly really good reason here. So this executable thing, does that not exist in the core? So whichever way we go about this, we want to have one way of doing executables for the entire code base, because, you know, for the entire monorepo, because that is how CocoaPods is doing it too. They just have one centralized executable thing. Now the only question is, do they have another one of those inside CocoaPods core? Okay. So we can use our peer dependency on repo CocoaPods, and we could grab executable from at this point we actually do need a convention for for build versus dist. For build versus source, I'm a bit worried about it. Anyway, thank you, Ares or Ares. Index.js. CocoaPods source. What if we exported from ./executable.js executable? What's the complaint here? From so now we can grab that from for now we'll just import directly from source. Is that gonna work? Yeah, there's no declarations. Oh yeah, I've got to rename that to index.ts. Nope. Is this gonna work? Reload. Whoops. It's trying to reload just for TypeScript server, but that appears to have done the trick. To do create separate source and this distinct. One couple to button. I was asking, I live in Japan. Yes, I do. I live in Japan. You say as well? Does that imply you're in Japan as well? Executable.execute command. This was in CocoaPods. Hold up, where's my CocoaPods downloaded on? Yeah, okay. UI actions. It's going to be execute. Simple. Raise on failure. Yeah, we'll just proxy through to our existing execute command module, and I think whether we introduce exec A or not is a potentially long discussion, but either way, if we do make use of it, it's not going to live here, it'll live in that file there, executable. So I will circle back to this. Okay, so execute command is implemented, which means we've now got some files that were relying on that thing existing that need to be unbroken. So execute command, whoops. Execute command sync, that's now going to be execute command. This thing, is this synchronous by default? Yeah, it's synchronous. Okay. And you pass in... Why isn't that... Oh yeah, command is already in array of strings, that's excellent. Exec command sync. Pass in... The name of the command is git. You have your array of flags. Oh yeah, exactly the same signature. Yeah, so this is a drop-in replacement. That's just groovy. Where's my other execute commands? We've got both of them in here. We move on to HTTP. Execute command. Yeah, that's fine. Of course, that for now is asynchronous, but we'll come back for this and we'll audit all of these later. We'll just make them synchronous because the original code was synchronous. Okay. HTTP remote file, execute this. Get more. Okay, and then we go on SCP, and we no longer await that, it's no longer a promise. So it's now consistent with what the original code was probably doing. In some ways, it's not the end of the world if these are blocking, because... Actually, no, it's probably quite a big deal in terms of why CocoaPods has got some slow areas that could be improved upon. But if you execute an rsync or something, you get the whole sort of progress bar like fed into your terminal as long as you pipe it through. So sometimes it's not such a bad experience to make it be a synchronous command, but you do have to take efforts to sort of read the std out as it comes through, and make sure that comes through to the user, which is something I have not implemented yet. So yes, all things to get back to. So let's therefore go into CocoaPods downloader, package.json, and remove that exec A for now. npm uninstall exec A. Okay, actually, let's just commit some of the other minor things we're working on first. So we go into base, commit just this chunk. Minor cleanups. Those are cleanups, would you say? Yeah, they're kind of cleaning. Okay. Actually, let's go back for that. Let's fix up that into the previous one. This test file's not going to get used. Okay, now the rest, most of the rest goes in. So that is the case. We don't commit test. SCP, that's good. That's good. That's good. That to do is fine. Okay. Commit this as well. Okie dokie. So, back to where we were. We're in the base file, and these last things, UI action, that wasn't in this file, but it's very possible it got merged in from somewhere else. So if I did a search on UI action, what are we going to learn? That's so weird. I really don't like this thing of Ruby where files all over the place can be merging their logic into other, to augment classes. It is one of the things that really makes it hard to understand the shape of anything in a Ruby code base. And indeed, oh boy. There's got to be a better way to do this, because this thing overrides how execute command is implemented. Why? What are these helpers? Suppress executables. Let's just put that in as a to-do for now, maybe that'll become clear later. To-do, assess this found in spec helper. Good stuff. So I guess all of these augmentations only get applied when spec helper gets required. So when does it get required? We need an extra tab here. Spec helper. Oh, hey, Johan. Nice to have you along. Thanks so much for actually tackling this, because I can see the module takes a lot of decoding, doesn't it? Yeah, what time zone are you in, by the way? I to be honest, I find Japan very hard to line up with anyone. I'm kind of rushing to get streams in the morning before everyone else in the world falls asleep. Methods are from api.ruby in the same directory. Tab. Yep. There's that as well? Hold up. Spec helper. I am so confused. These look kind of similar. Okay. Oh, right. So this is more about controlling the logging interface than anything else. God, this is confusing. So Johan's saying the same. Yeah, the UI methods are used to provide different UIs for the downloader to decouple the UI and exec command from the logic. Sweden. Yeah, I wonder what would be an easier time for us to line up. Let's see my time zones. I guess it's just become morning for you now, and that might mean work starting fairly soon. I think sort of evening my time would still be sort of afternoon Europe. Yeah, it's tricky. I think lining up Japan and Europe is very hard, because for us to both be awake, one of us has to be sleeping and one of us has to be working. Except on the, I've got Wednesdays off and weekends off, so there's probably some way to manage it. Let's see. But yeah, I think I'm running out of steam trying to process all the augmentations and understand the best way to do this. Probably, to be honest, I think I need some water. I'll just be right back. Okay. So how can we solve this? Because clearly this gets imported through something like this. CocoaPods download. Yes, okay. So that causes the augmentation. And it's kind of weird that it populates the class before base does. See you later, Johan. Nice to have you. All of these as well. Cool. Okay, I think I'm running out of steam a bit, so I'm gonna stop the stream there for now. Thanks everyone for coming along, and I'll take a break and do something else. So, have a nice day. See ya.